I welcome you all for today's 10 minutes CME. Today, you are all aware we are in the middle of World Tuberculosis Day. We know why we are celebrating Tuberculosis Day. Robert Koch identified Mycobacterium tuberculosis today. That is why we are celebrating today. Not celebrating, we are creating an awareness about tuberculosis. Mainly, the aim was to create awareness among public. But today, in this 10 minutes CME, we are going to create awareness about MDR-TB to you all. I am Dr. Suresh Kumar. I am working as a senior consultant in infectious diseases, Apollo Hospitals, Chennai. I co-founded a small startup called Best of ID. The aim is to teach infectious disease education to clinicians. Basically, it simplifies ID. There is no textbook for ID for physicians, so I am simplifying through infectious diseases with the help of startup, so practicing physicians can learn infectious diseases there. Why we are creating awareness? The theme is time is tickling now. Last year, a lot of time is wasted because of COVID pandemic. A lot of initiatives we lost it. So today we are going to discuss about MDR-TB, how I am dealing in the past, how I am dealing now, and how I am going to deal in the future. I straightaway begin with a case here. In October 2015, we encountered one case here, 16-year-old Miss S from Arunachal Pradesh. Basically, she presented to me with a history of neck swelling of 10 days duration, fever, weight loss, and cough, 10 to 14 days duration. She got a left-sided cervical node with a significant past medical history. She was taken irregular ADT for 6 months for a similar problem on the right side of the neck. It was underwent FNAC that showed necrotizing granuloma. They didn't do any expert MTB because that was not available in Arunachal Pradesh at that point of time. They didn't do any AAB smear or AAB culture neither. So she started at the 6 months 4-drug ADT, but she was not followed appropriately. So she completed the regimen with a lot of improvement happened at that point of time. But within a year later, she started presenting with history of fever, cough, weight loss, along with neck swelling on the other side, left side. So what are you going to do now? Start same first line drug, 4 drugs. Or you want to go for expert MTB. Right now it is available in 2015. Whether you want to do expert MTB or you want to add streptomycin to your previous regimen, or straightaway you want to do MDR-TB regimens, or you want to refer to the higher center. So what happened? This lady underwent expert MTB. FNAC she underwent along with expert MTB. That expert MTB showed rifampin sensitive confirmed TB. Now, is there any difference in the thought process? Whether you want to go with 4-drug ADT, or you want to start MDR-TB, or you want to add streptomycin at this point of time, or you want to wait till the AAB culture is back. So what happened to this girl? From November 2015 to November 2016, 1 year, she was started on 4-drug ADT initially, later converted to 3-drug ADT at the end of intensive phase of 2 months. Within 1 year, she started improving a lot. She gained 10 kilograms weight and the node melted immediately within 6 weeks to 8 weeks time. She tolerated very well. So this is the status in November 2016. But the story is not ended there. Again, within 6 months time, in April 2017, again node present on both sides of the neck. Fever is there. She lost again 2 kilograms. What she gained during the treatment of TB last year, her respiratory system examination was clear. What will you going to do now? Whether you want to start again the 4-drug ADT, what a trick for the last year, or you want to repeat the expert MTB, or you want to add streptomycin along with 4-drug ADT, or this time you want to start MDR regimen. What is your plan? So this is a paper I written a couple of years back, not couple of years back, a decade back I can put it now. During that time, patients visited my hospitals. We did the AAB culture. In the AAB culture, what I noticed, almost 28% of AAB culture isolates were multi-drug resistant TB. This is in 2010. So in a tertiary care hospital like us, we are seeing MDR-TB means other parts of world in India also see the MDR-TB from 2010. But now we are in 2021. We need to know the MDR-TB won't go away. The numbers is going up. So this is the status of MDR-TB. If you see, India is an hotbed for MDR-TB. That is why we are discussing how to manage MDR-TB in this CME rounds there. But if you see, even pediatric populations, MDR-TB is growing up. Adult population is a big menace. In pediatric also, it is growing up now. This is the latest tuberculosis report I am showing. India is an hot seat for tuberculosis, particularly resistant TB is also growing up now. So come back to my case. April 2017, she came back, nodes present on both sides of the neck, along with fever and weight loss. This time I repeated same FNAC that showed necrotizing granuloma, but to everybody's thought process is correct. Expert MTB showed rifampin was resistant there. What do you want to do now? You want to do a culture? Yes, we want to send the culture. I send the sample for culture, but everybody knows culture will take 4 to 6 weeks. So is there any other method we can fasten the results? If the patient has got pulmonary tuberculosis, we can do Haines test. But unfortunately, this is a lymph node tuberculosis. We need either pulmonary sample or bronchoalveolar lavage sample to do direct Haines test. That's called second line sensitivity also we can be able to detect. We can detect rifampin resistance, we can detect INH resistance, along with we can detect some of the second line drugs like fluoroquinolones and aminoglycosides we can able to find out. But it's not available freely. That will take minimum 3 to 7 days, depending upon whether you are doing it or whether you're outsourcing it there. So what are you going to do for this girl? People want to know what is the predictive value of rifampin resistance. An expert MTB says rifampin is resistance, whether it's really resistant or not, people are wondering. This case, yes, she fits into resistant TB. Why? In 2014, she has not taken the TB medicines appropriately. In 2015 and 16, she had taken appropriate treatment, but we are not sure whether because of the previous history of poor adherence to TB medicines caused resistance, we are not sure, or the resistance is not came out. So this is a test I'm talking about. If you got sputum sample of bronchoalveolar lavage, BAL, you can do direct test. But if other samples like lymph node, it should grow in the culture. After growing in the culture only, we can be able to do this one. This is a problem there. Right now, it's a lymph node TB. I sent for AB culture. I need to wait for the results there. So what happened? Till AB culture is coming back, I know this is rifampin resistant TB. The patient is keep on getting tuberculosis one after another. In 2014, treated irregularly. 2015, 1 year treatment, regular treatment, good adherence. But again, in 2017, she came back. So what I'm going to do? For this girl, what I did, I started the regimen based upon WHO regimen of 2016 recommendations. I started moxifloxacin, injections kanamycin, ethionamide, cycloserine, linezolid, ethambutol, and pyrazinamide. But unfortunately, she started developing abdominal pain, nausea, joint pain in 2 months. What are I going to do with now? Before I discuss further, I'll show what happened, the WHO recommendations. If you see the WHO recommendations from 2006 onwards, they keep on changing every year. Not every year, every alternate years or every third year. The recommendation is keep on changing as far as tuberculosis is concerned. Why? A lot of data is emerging. Previously, very limited data. Of late, the data is emerging more often. That is the purpose we are doing today's rounds there. So this is 2011. We divided TB drugs into group 1 to group 5. Group 1, everybody knows 4 standard ATD drugs: INH, rifampin, ethambutol, and pyrazinamide. Then group 2 belongs to second line injectable agents: kanamycin, amikacin, capreomycin, and streptomycin. In fact, considers a group 1. In group 3, it's fluoroquinolones: levofloxacin, moxifloxacin, Gatti, and Oflox. Group 4 belongs to second line oral bacteriostatic drugs like ethionamide, prothionamide, cycloserine, and para-aminosalicylic acid. Group 5 are all investigational drugs like clofazimine, linezolid, amoxiclav, clarithromycin, imipenem. And some of the new drugs also included at that point of time like bedaquiline and delamanid. So how to build a regimen in 2011, a decade back? We need to use ethambutol and pyrazinamide from group 1 because it is rifampin resistance. Most likely INH is also resistant. So we need to use ethambutol and pyrazinamide. Then we need to use one injectable drug, either kanamycin or amikacin, because streptomycin belongs to group 1. And third step, we need to add either levofloxacin, moxifloxacin. Nowadays, GATI and ofloxacin has been removed. Then fourth thing, we need to add some bacteriostatic agent like ethionamide, cycloserine, and QPAS. Then finally, if you are not able to attain 5 to 6 good drugs, we need to go for investigational drugs. This is how we constructed regimen in 2011. Then in 2016, within 5 years' time, the MDR-TB regimens has been changed. Particularly, the groups become Group A, B, C, and D. Group A becomes fluoroquinolones, and Group B becomes injectables. Group C again same bacteriostatic agent, but clofazimine and linezolid become Group C this time. And Group D, whatever ethambutol and pyrazinamide in 2011, they pushed down the order to Group D. Don't rely on ethambutol and pyrazinamide. Then bedaquiline and delaminate again come into the market, and QPAS, para-aminosalicylic acid, is pushed down the order. So what is moved in? Clofazimine and linezolid is moved in, and levofloxacin, moxifloxacin got more importance. Ofloxacin got out of it, and GATI still remained that point of time. And streptomycin just joined in Group B along with aminoglycosides, amikacin and kanamycin and capreomycin. So how to build a regimen in 2016? We need to use either levofloxacin, moxifloxacin. That is why I have chosen moxifloxacin for this girl. Then we need to use one injectable drug. Kanamycin, I used it. Then third thing, we need to use bacteriostatic agent. I used ethionamide and cycloserine for this girl. Then finally, we need to add ethambutol and pyrazinamide to make the regimen more effective. Still, we don't have bedaquiline available rightly that point of time, even in government sector. Right now, bedaquiline is available in government sector, not available to private care practitioners like you and me. So what happened to this girl? She was started with the moxifloxacin, but she specifically pointed towards whenever she takes moxifloxacin, she got some abdominal discomfort. So I changed it to levofloxacin, but it has got no scientific rationale. Both belong to same group only. And she said she doesn't tolerate ethionamide. So ethionamide was stopped. After starting the regimen in April 2017, after completing 6 months, kanamycin was stopped because we usually give injectable drugs for 6 months. After 6 months, if you continue the kanamycin, the chances of toxicity is very high. So the regimen was rechanged in November 2017. Levofloxacin, linezolid was added, ethambutol was continued, pyrazinamide was continued, clofazimine was added. Since kanamycin was stopped and ethionamide she was not tolerated, clofazimine was added in November 2017. 9 months later, she came back. That is almost 15 months later. 15 months later, in August 2018, she came back. Now the notes has completely disappeared. No fever, but this time lot of toxicity. She got a little bit of weakness in upper limbs. She got diminished vision. Blood counts, both hemoglobin, WBC, platelets, everything came down. Skin pigmentation, become orange tinge has happened because of clofazimine. Black discoloration of tongue, which is because of linezolid. Severe joint pain, either because of levofloxacin or because of pyrazinamide. Her hemoglobin dropped to 5.8, uric acid went up to 9.8. What will you do now? Almost all second line regimen, what I used, linezolid, she developed peripheral neuropathy weakness, hemoglobin dropped, her tongue has become black. Clofazimine, skin has gone, orange color tinge had happened. And because of linezolid or because of ethambutol, the vision has come down. And lot of skin pigmentation is going on, severe joint pain because of pyrazinamide. Almost all drugs she has got symptoms, side effects. What are going to do now? So what I did, since the person herself doesn't want to take the medicine, she's a young girl, 16-year-old girl with MDR-TB and lot of side effects, even though clinically better. April 2017, she started. Within 15 months of starting the regimen, she started improving with the regimens. Unfortunately, she does not completed the regimen of 18 months to 24 months. Before that, she started developing almost all side effects what textbooks has mentioned. Almost all the side effects she has mentioned. This is a real story. People who starting MDR-TB drugs, they start manifesting almost all the side effects. Standard first-line drugs won't manifest any side effects except pyrazinamide. Pyrazinamide can cause some liver toxicity, but most of the first-line drugs they tolerate well. Even though initially they start vomiting, they start nauseating, but most of the people tolerate well. But unfortunately, second-line drugs or MDR TB drugs very difficult to tolerate. So you need to counsel your patients regarding the adherence. And people always say, when you say 4 drugs for TB medicines, doctor, you are giving 2 strong medicines for TB. Please counsel them. This is not too strong. MDR TB medicines is too strong. So what happened? She stopped the medicines in August 2018. I persuaded for next 8 months, but she said, enough is enough. So in Jan 2019, she came back. Now no fever. Nodes still are subsided. Upper limb weakness has been improved. Vision started improving because ethambutol was stopped. Blood counts have started improving. Hemoglobin picked up to 9. Uric acid came down. Joint pain improved. Skin became normal. The orange tinge has gone away. Then tongue is also normal. No blood discolorations. She stopped the drugs till August 2018 there. Advised protein-rich diet. Review after 3 months. And advised to 6 months follow-up. Every 3-6 months follow-up. But unfortunately, they did one more follow-up in April. Afterwards, she lost to follow-up. I do not know whether COVID has created loss to follow-up. We are waiting for her to come back and to see what happened to her. But what happened in August 2018? I have shown what happened in 2011. The drugs were classified group 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In 2016, WHO changed it into A, B, C, D. And a lot of proponent to clofazimine and linezolid. Again in 2018, what is the major change happened in 2018? What changed? Injectable agents is given less priority. Previously, we need to use one injectable drug, either streptomycin, amikacin, or kanamycin. But in 2018 August, they said injectable drugs is not required. We need to go with levofloxacin, moxifloxacin, either one drug, not both. Then we need to use bedaquiline. And linezolid has come into number 2 position along with clofazimine and cycloserine. So try to use 5 drugs. The 5 drugs may be either levo or moxi along with bedaquiline plus clofazimine, linezolid and cycloserine. What is pushed down? Ethionamide, prothionamide, QPAS and injectable agents is pushed down. And they removed amoxicillin clavulanic acid. It has got no TB action. Clarithromycin is gone. So these are all the changes happen in 2018. Subsequent year in 2019, Infectious Disease Society of America, along with American Thoracic Society, ATS we call, they came with guidelines. They given a lot of importance to bedaquiline. They given a lot of importance to fluoroquinolone because they got very strong recommendations along with linezolid. But what are all the drugs pushed down? Ethionamide, prothionamide, along with injectable agents, they pushed down. So what is the recommendations of IDSA in 2019? 5 drug, durations of treatment 15 to 21 months. According to 2019 guidelines, my patient has completed almost 15 months of ATT there. And 5 drugs, yes, we use 5 drugs. Intensive phase, minimum 5 to 7 months. 5 to 7 months after the culture conversions. Similarly, continuation phase, minimum 15 months after the culture conversions. Total durations, ideal time. We need to consider longer durations for pre-XDR and XDR TB. Try to use bedaquiline as much as possible along with either moxi or levoflox, linezolid and clofazimine. Ethambutol, try to use as an add-on therapy. Don't give weightage. No role for amoxicillin, clarithromycin or azithromycin. Don't use ethionamide, prothionamide. Don't consider meropenem alone. If you want to use meropenem as an agent of TB, use along with clavulanic acid. Delamanid, there is no major evidences at that point of time. So this is 2019 guidelines. So how to construct? Use levoflox or moxiflox. Then you need to use bedaquiline plus linezolid. Along with cycloserine, we need to add. Then if the regimen is not complete, try to reintroduce amikacin or streptomycin according to ATS guidelines, not according to WHO guidelines. Then if there is no other option, try to go for delamanid or you can use pyrazinamide or ethambutol. This is how the regimen is constructed using IDSA guidelines in 2019. The dose is most important. Don't cut short the dose. If you want to use levofloxacin, go for 750 to 1000 milligram. If you want to use moxie, 400 to 600 milligram. But only thing, linezolid. Linezolid standard dose is 600 milligram BD. But in MDR TB, we are going to use for minimum 15 months to 24 months. And linezolid is a bad drug if you are using long term. So we want to keep the linezolid dose minimum 600 milligram once a day or 300 milligram twice a day also. Some people are using linezolid 300 milligram also once a day because the toxicity of linezolid is very difficult. That is a major concern. Then can we cut down the durations? In 2020, still we want to use longer therapy. If you go back and see the history, how it started for 18 months for ordinary TB, standard sensitive TB, the duration has came down to 6 months. Similarly, can we do something for MDR TB? Instead of treating 18 months, 24 months, can I cut down to duration? Yes, possible there. One regimen called Bangladeshi regimen has came into market that treated MDR TB patients 9 to 11 months with a specific regimen there. Unfortunately, it is not evaluated worldwide. So a lot of resistance for this regimen there. Right now, couple of trials evaluating this Bangladeshi regimen. But for that, we need to have specific recommendations. For example, this should be MDR TB or rifampin resistant TB, not pre-XDR or XDR TB. We should not try for pregnant ladies. We should not try for extrapulmonary TB. Pulmonary, rifampin resistant or multi-drug resistant TB, you can use shorter regimen, not for extrapulmonary TB, not for pregnant ladies, not for people living with HIV. It's been difficult at that point of time now. Why we are not pushing aminoglycosides like amikacin, kanamycin, lot of toxicity. That is why 2018 WHO guidelines pushed out injectable agents. So can we use without injectable agent, short course regimen? Yes, it is possible there. Right now, one of the big trials has been completed. We can use couple of drugs like bedaquiline, linezolid, as well as proteomanide, not prothionate. This is other drug we can use and cut down the duration to 6 months. We can use the 3 drugs and cut down the duration to 6 months is possible now. So in summary, MDR TB or TB, we started with sanatoriums. We need to hospitalize the patients. We need to give good oxygen support, fresh air, lot of protein-rich diet. Then tuberculosis regimen was introduced by Indian Council of Medical Research. One more, started with a couple of drugs like streptomycin and isoniazid. Slowly they start introducing the 4-drug regimen. But in 2020 or 2021, how we are going to manage? We are going to use video dots, not directly observed. We need to use video technologies. We need to use artificial intelligence and machine learning to decide precision medicines, what regimen is best for individual patients, and whether the patient is taking the drug or not. And we are going to use drone to supply the medicines. So we learned a lot from the COVID pandemic. What we learned from COVID pandemic, the most important thing, access to the medicines. Not only TB, diabetes and hypertension also affected. People fail to get the medicines. Access to the medicines is affected, particularly in public sector side. So what is improved? Drones are going to play a big role in 2021 and 2021 onwards. Second thing, artificial intelligence and machine learning going to play a big role. Not only decide the regimen, also whether you are taking the drugs or not, we can assess with the help of artificial intelligence. So TB treatment, particularly from the sanatorium, it moved to the individual houses. From individual houses, it is moving to the machine learning based treatment now. For MDR TB, it started with 7 to 8 drugs, injectable drugs. Now it is moved to without injections, 15 to 18 months. In future, 9 to 11 months or even 6 months course is possible. With the help of good adherence and good potent drugs, it is on the way. So this is a lesson for today's. Even the theme is constantly changing. Previously, we used to say cure TB. In 1990s, cure TB. 2000, we say stop TB. For 2020 onwards, we want to end TB. We do not know in future what should be the TB. TB is eradicated. This is the past. This is the present, and the future is TB should be eradicated from this world, from this universe I can call. I thank this opportunity. And if you want to learn more about infectious disease and simplify, follow this link. We can teach you a lot. Thanks for the opportunity.